Welcome to News Dump. We got some news for you, and it's about to be dumped. It's gonna get dumped on you.
That's a good song. Anyway, guys, forget about that.
It's a late on a Friday, okay?
It's late on a Friday.
It's early Saturday.
Yeah, so that was sure quick. Less than 2 weeks after Ben Affleck went on Twitter and dropped some unequivocal video confirmation that Deathstroke would be his nemesis in the standalone Batman movie that Affleck will also be directing, it has now been double confirmed by Geoff Johns, co-writer of the Batman movie, and also a very important person otherwise, that Deathstroke will be played by Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello.
It was also, in fact, the guy in the suit in that footage was Joe Manganiello. He was there all along.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Behind a mask. It's almost like masks on superheroes work.
Yeah.
Who knew? Anyways, this is pretty cool, not just because Manganiello has the acting chops and physique to play a formidable villain like Deathstroke, but also because he's been a fan favorite to play the role for quite a while. Geoff Johns also told the Wall Street Journal in an article that's stuck behind one of the most ridiculous paywalls in modern journalism, some of the ways that he plans to help steer the DC Extended Universe in a new direction after the reactions to both Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad.
So Geoff Johns said,
Fans
quote,
react.
He said, quote, mistakenly in the past, I think the studio has said, oh, DC films are gritty and dark, and that's what makes them different. That couldn't be more wrong. It's a hopeful and optimistic view of life. Even Batman has a glimmer of that in him. If he didn't think he'd make tomorrow better, he'd stop. Which is, it's mostly pretty vague, but it does seem like kind of a soft jab at Zack Snyder's just humorless approach to Batman and Superman in Batman v Superman.
Zack Snyder took the DC universe and held it upside down, shoved it into a toilet, and flushed it. Nerd! Making things bleak. Anyways, Johns also said that Justice League will actually address the whole elephant in the room thing from Batman and v Superman, where Batman seemed to be a whole lot more ruthless and violent than he's usually depicted, which honestly, we didn't have a huge problem with. For us, it made sense for the character. It was just odd that we didn't get to see much of the process by which he became such a bitter, give-no-fucks old man. Overall, the DCEU has done a shit job at scheduling these movies in a way that makes sense anyway.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing, is you have almost 100 years to plan these things off of the source material. So when I see a dark and gritty Batman, I'm like, okay, cool. I know which kind of graphic novel they're pulling from, or this and that, and it's not easy to connect
introducing the character for the first time on screen, it's like, wait a second.
Hey, his parents are dead? What happened?
Anyway, yeah, they've done a real shit job with a lot of it, really. Yeah. But hopefully Geoff Johns can take things in a better direction. Like we always say, every time this comes up, it is not fun talking shit on the DC movies. There's no joy in this. We want them to be good. But there is some people that you'll never please, though, such as Mel Gibson, who, while talking to Deadline this week about his new movie Hacksaw Ridge, called Batman v Superman a piece of shit. And I guess if anyone would know pieces of shit, Mel Gibson would.
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah. Mel Gibson jokes aside, though, apparently he's still good at making movies. Hacksaw Ridge is supposedly very, very good. It recently got a 10-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival, and it only cost $40 million to make, despite being a war movie and a period piece. The jab at Batman v Superman was mainly about how he doesn't understand how anyone could spend $250 million on a movie and still have it come out bad. It's a pretty good point that he's making, but whatever. It's good to hear that Hacksaw Ridge is being so well received. All things aside, Gibson is a damn good director, and we're stoked to see the movie when it actually comes out here in November. Hopefully there's lots of over-the-top violence like his other movies that he's directed.
Yeah, apparently, like, the violence, it's like such a slow build that, like, when it finally does take you to, like, the battlefield, it's just like, he, like, really punches you in the face with it.
Good.
Moving on to TV news, though, Vince Gilligan, the guy behind Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, has revealed what his next project will be, and if you thought Breaking Bad was dark, get ready for Vince Gilligan's HBO miniseries about the Jonestown Massacre.
Jesus Christ.
Which, if you're not familiar, was a real-life event in 1978 when 918 members of the People's Temple religious group committed mass suicide at the orders of their glorious leader, Jim Jones.
Yeah, you should go listen to the audio.
No, don't do it.
Go listen to the audio on YouTube from that event.
Don't.
If you want to ruin your entire week. Gilligan is also bringing his frequent collaborator Michelle MacLaren onto the project, which is great news. Has actress Octavia Spencer taking an executive producer role, which is cool. The show will be called Raven, and it's based on the nonfiction book of the same name. So if you want to get a little sneak peek. I mean, there's lots of documentaries about it, too.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. It'll show the Walter White-esque rise of Jim Jones and his People's Temple from their innocuous and positive beginnings in the 1950s to their full-on dangerous cult status in the 1970s. Cults were a great thing in the 70s. They were everywhere. Everyone had a cult. You rarely get to see how otherwise rational people end up getting sucked in by cults, so this has a lot of potential to be really good. Or just go watch that Scientology movie. What was the one that HBO
Going
did?
Clear?
Yeah, it was great.
That was a very good one. Speaking of dark and upsetting real-life topics, though, Netflix just dropped not one, but 2 trailers for their upcoming documentary, Amanda Knox, about the American student Amanda Knox, who was studying in Italy and then was arrested and successfully prosecuted for the murder of her roommate, only to be released after 4 years in an Italian prison when the courts found that her trial and conviction had just been a complete shit show mess from start to finish.
Well, thank God she wasn't masturbating in front of a university. They would have let her go instantly. The 2 trailers are a reflection of the intense media scrutiny of the case in both the US and Italy, with one trailer titled Suspect Her, showing things from the perspective that Knox was clearly guilty, and the other titled Believe Her, focusing on Amanda Knox's own hellish personal experience through the whole process. If you've seen Locked Up Abroad, I'm sure this is just as bad.
Yeah.
The documentary drops on Netflix on September 30th, just a week after the... Ooh, this is a tough one. This one looks like it's gonna fucking piss people off so much, and that's a good thing. That comes just a week after the Netflix documentary Audrey and Daisy comes out, which looks horribly depressing, and it's about a small town teenage sexual assault and how the social media plays a part in it. Hey, fun stuff.
Yeah. He plays football. How could he have done anything wrong?
Sports have ruined America.
Yeah, they really have.
Yeah.
Especially small town America. Moving on to movie trailers, though, we got a trailer for a movie called Free Fire, which pretty much came out of nowhere, but it looks like a very violent, very good time. It takes place sometime in the 70s, and it looks like it takes place entirely in and around a warehouse where an arms deals purchase transaction thing leads to a disagreement that escalates into a massive shootout where even in the trailer, it seems like every single character gets shot at least once. They're all just walking around with bullet holes in them. It looks ridiculous. It stars Brie Larson, friend of the show Charlton Copley, Armie Hammer, and Cillian Murphy, and it doesn't have a US release date yet, but it comes out in the UK in March.
Maybe we can get Charlton back in.
Oh, come right back. I can't.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he's a real good guy.
Next up, Gold, which stars Matthew McConaughey and Edgar Ramirez as 2 real-life guys who headed to Indonesia in the early 90s looking for gold, literal gold, and they managed to find a shitload of it. Good for them. They set up a mine and get rich overnight, but of course, they find out that more money equals more problems. It co-stars Bryce Dallas Howard, sort of friend of the show.
Yeah, we talked to her.
Toby Kebbell,
Also
a friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Corey Stoll, we haven't talked to yet.
Not a friend.
Not yet. Not yet, Corey. We'll see you soon. This comes out in theaters on Christmas. Maybe we'll see him then.
Yeah. I want to interview just Matthew McConaughey's like bald cap that he wears for this because he looks like shit.
Yeah, I want to interview Matthew McConaughey in a Lincoln. Have him tell me all about the features.
I only do interviews in Lincoln.
The ride is so smooth. You don't even need to set up any kind of special microphone.
They don't even pay me to do these commercials.
I do them for free. I just love the damn car
Let me
so
ride in
much.
the new Lincoln before anyone else gets a chance. That's all I want.
I just love that Lincoln.
Then there's a new trailer for Ben Affleck's next movie where he both stars and directs. And sorry, it's not Batman. It's a movie called Live by Night.
K-N-I-G-H-T?
No, just night, like nighttime.
What if he snuck it in though and it was actually the Batman movie?
That would be wild. That would be like on the level of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
But anyway, this looks pretty great. Ben Affleck plays a guy who comes home to Boston
Gotham.
after the First World War, and rather than getting a job and just moving on with his life, he moves to Florida to become a rum-running, bootlegging gangster,
Oh, good.
which of course all involves a lot of guns and violence and fedoras. So Live by Night comes out on January 13th. Supposedly, though, it'll have a limited December release to get it some awards consideration, kind of like how Hateful Eight did it last year.
He comes back to Gotham after years of broad study under Ra's al Ghul. Anyways, finally there's a trailer for The Promise, which stars Christian Bale and Oscar Isaac. Probably won't be in theaters in Turkey anytime soon because it's about the Armenian genocide, which remains a very touchy subject over a century later because Turkey just refuses to admit that it was actually a planned genocide. It's directed by Terry George, who previously directed Hotel Rwanda, and that was also about genocide. So he's having fun.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac and Christian Bale are 2 damn good actors.
Friend of the show, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, not Christian Bale
Christian
yet, though.
Bale.
No. This subject hasn't really ever been covered in an American film, so it'll definitely be worth a watch whenever it comes out. And since it's playing at the Toronto International Film Festival this weekend, reviews should be coming very soon.
I wish I was there.
Me too.
So
Everyone's
many good
having a great
movies.
time.
Yeah.
And you knock out so many interviews, too.
Yeah. Well, most of the movies playing there, they're just releasing the trailers like
Now. Yeah.
even though the journalists get to see them right now. So yeah,
And Bruce Kirkland's there.
That's true.
I've been covering it for 30 years.
It's my hometown festival. No air miles. That's the only downside.
Well, I flew to New York just to fly back. In one of those lappity flap steel birds.
He's gonna kill us. Anyway,
He's a great guy. Watch our other content over here. We have a new episode of Tugs where if you thought the PS4 Pro was a great idea,
you're an idiot.
I mean, if you have disposable income, sure, enjoy, whatever.
Weekly weird news. I'll go over to Italy and start jacking it.
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
Speaking of getting arrested in Italy,
Yeah.
if you masturbate in front of people, probably
No
get a slap
problem.
on the wrist.
Yeah, they love it. And then on our podcast, we had Christian Harloff from the Schmoes. We talked about all the movies coming out soon.
And then stay tuned for our podcast tomorrow where we have friend of the show, Steven Suptic from Super Panic Frenzy and his own YouTube channel. It gets weird,
Yeah, it gets real weird.
but you'll love it. Bye.
Bye.